Hello, and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Chill with Will. I'm Will, and I hope you guys have been having a good couple weeks. I've been alright. I meant to make new episodes for the podcast and record stuff, but just other things were going on, and I was getting distracted, and I couldn't focus on a topic or something, so... Yeah, I took a little bit of a break after the premiere, so sorry about that. But we're back now, and we out here for season 2. But yeah, I hope your guys' Pride Month has been good. Mine has been kind of uneventful. I'm not going to lie, this entire month has just kind of like gotten away from me. I don't know, like, I thought like, oh yeah, maybe I can go to like a Pride event in June or whatever, and then the first week of June was LA Pride, and I didn't even realize it until like the Friday before it, or the Friday of it happening, and so I was just like, oh well, shit. So I didn't really get a chance to plan for it or anything. And then the following week, I think last week, last week or the week before, something like that. I know last week was the concert I went to. It was Megan Thee Stallion. That was super fun. That was a fun time. So I guess that was sort of a, it was sort of a Pride event, and a bunch of the gays and girlies were there, and that was a fun time. It was my first concert that I've gone to that wasn't a Christian artist. It was my sister's first concert, period. So it was a fun time. It was a very different experience from concerts I've gone to in the past, but I wasn't complaining. It was a fun time. But yeah, so now we're here, and the month just kind of snuck up and got away from me, because next month we're already in freaking July, and I don't know what happened, man. I've just kind of felt off this month, I guess. I've been meaning to focus on the podcast more, but there's just been kind of different obstacles and stuff, and just sort of like personal like things just kind of going on in my head and stuff, and so it's been hard to just focus on this, just because I'm thinking about a bunch of different things. And particularly what I want to talk about, like with tonight's episode, is just kind of like this feeling of being stuck. And I've been feeling this for a while. It's been for like the past year or so, but I've just been like thinking about it more and more, and it's mostly to do with like where I'm living currently, if I'm honest. I've lived in this apartment for a very long time. It's going to be almost 10 years I think at the end of the year. It will be 10 years that, since I moved into this building. And that's a very long time. And, I know so many people that throughout their 20s and stuff, they were like moving all the time. And I just could never really do that. I never really understood the logistics of how they were able to ever do that. Just because, moving is always just such a logistical thing, and is so complicated logistically to do, and it just, I don't know how people do it so often. And like, I wanted to kind of do stuff like that, but I also really wanted the comfortability, the stability. That's, like, I've talked about it before, that like stability is like really important to me, and especially stability when it came to like my housing was particularly important to me, because growing up, my parents divorced when I was like very young, so most of my childhood I was moving back and forth between parents, different houses or whatever. And it wasn't like we were moving all the time, but I think it just happened enough times where it was just like I never really felt at home really anywhere. Like I maybe felt that a couple times, but by the time I got to become a young adult, and then like once I moved out and stuff, it was like kind of hard, because like the first year when I moved out, because I moved out of my dad's when I was like 21, I think. Maybe younger than that, because I don't think I could drink yet still. I think I was like 20. And I moved out. I rented a room from some friend of my dad's. It was like his little bonus room that he got closed off. It was kind of a sketchy situation. Probably shouldn't have been living in there. Probably violated a bunch of housing regulations, but whatever. We did that for like a summer or something. It was a short time thing, and then I eventually went from there to move in with my mom again for a little bit, and I kind of did that for like a 6 to 8 month bit, and then that kind of ended, and I ended up just staying with a friend for a few months, and then I eventually found this place. And so I think after that whole like weird time where I was like not really having that space to call my own, I was really adamant about making sure that whatever I got was going to be my home. And this place has been that, and it's been that for a while, but you know, as you get older and as your situation changes, your needs change. And, you know, some of you are aware, my sister lives with me now. You know, she moved in with me a couple years ago because she was living in Idaho for a while and she wanted to come back home. And I didn't mind her staying. And so that's just kind of the situation we've been doing. We've been making this 1-bedroom apartment work for the both of us, and it's fine, but it has sort of created this desire in me to like want, you know, something where we could both have our own space, and you know, I think that's like really important. So now like my needs have changed, and I feel kind of I don't know if for some reason I still feel stuck in this place. And I think that's just kind of because of the housing market, just because of like how certain properties are, where they'll require you to make like 3 or 4 times the rent in order to even apply for the thing. And then there's the application fee, and there's like all these fees to like just even look at an apartment, you know? And it's like it's not even like guaranteed that you'll even get it. So I think that part is just like, it's like the bureaucratic part, you know, it's all the paperwork and all that. It's all the boring stuff that I don't want to deal with. I would rather just keep doing this and like not have to deal with all of that. But I think I'm sort of reaching my breaking point, I think, because, you know, I just want us to do something more, you know. I want to be able to just do more things, and I feel like if I am able to make this move, that I could finally, you know, make more effort towards making this show better, you know, and just kind of work towards making better life decisions for myself. You know, like my job has been fine. It's like a perfectly fine job. It's not particularly difficult by any means. It pays my bills and it does what I need it to do. But I did, you know, make it known to my boss that, like, this was years ago when I got the job. You know, I told him, I was just like, yeah, I'll probably do this for like a couple years and then I'll probably start looking for something else. And that was a couple years ago. So I kind of at that point too, where I'm just like, all right, I think your time is kind of like winding down here, and it might be time to actually be very serious about, you know, changing up what you do for work. And, you know, it's a lot of change needs to happen. It's like, I feel like it needs to. And so I just kind of have been getting overwhelmed with it recently. And so it's just kind of distracted me from doing a bunch of other things that, you know, are normal, like the podcast, for example. Like, you know, I want to keep doing stuff, cool stuff for this. But I get distracted by just so many of the other things going on in my life that I don't know, I freeze up. Like, even recording this episode has been particularly difficult. I don't know what it is. I feel like in other episodes I can just kind of like push through it a little bit easier, but I've just been finding myself getting stuck recently, and it's just kind of annoying, and I think it's just, I don't know. I know it's a temporary thing, and I know, like everything else, it'll pass. But yeah, I don't know. I've also been like toying with the idea of like moving out of California, and I think that part is the thing that has been kind of getting me in my head more, because I've never lived anywhere else. I was born in Southern California, and I've lived here my whole life. Um, I've gone on like, vacations for like a week or two, in different places, but, this has been my home like my whole life. And, you can always go back to somewhere if you are really, if you feel that strongly about it. I mean, my sister is a very good example. She was in Idaho for like, she was born here, and then she lived in Idaho for like 7 years and then came back, so it's not impossible to just come back one day. But I think I'm hindering myself from a lot of cool like opportunities for growth by not even considering the option of like moving to a different state. Because I don't know if I'm just romanticizing this idea because I'm going on vacation there next month, but me and my sister are going to New York next month to go visit my stepsister and stepbrother. We're going to be there for like a week and a half. And I don't want to move to New York City, but I think moving to the East Coast for a bit would be kind of cool. I don't know, like I was looking in a few different spots, kind of outside of Philadelphia. I found some areas that I was like kind of familiar with, and I was like, that'd be kind of cool. I think just for the experience, really, is what excited me the most about that idea, because it would just be different. I would be in a completely new element, and it would kind of force me to be more outgoing, because like I'm here, and I do have friends here, but I also don't feel like I'm particularly tied down here. I don't really feel like I have any ties here anymore, especially after not talking to my dad anymore. So it's like, well, now would probably be a good time to do stuff like that. I mean, a few years ago would have probably been a good time to do something like this, but now even more so. And like I was saying a little bit ago, it wouldn't have to be for a very long time. It could be, just for a year or two, just to kind of see what it's like. But I don't know. I see a lot of people I know, friends and acquaintances, just kind of moving to new places, and when they go to these new places, they are just kind of offered different opportunities that just open up doors to a bunch of cool possibilities and experiences. And I feel like if I ever want any of that type of stuff, I need to do this. But I don't know. That whole thing is still very much in its early stages, and I need to figure out how that would even work. Because like with my job, it has locations like throughout the country, so that could be promising for like work wise. That way I could keep a steady stream of income, just kind of like transfer somewhere else. And maybe do a slightly different job. I don't know, but I feel like there's options, and I just need to be better about looking into those things. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for this trip in a couple weeks. I'm gonna try and pre-record a couple episodes ahead of time, so that way you guys have stuff to listen to while I'm away. If you guys have any suggestions on things you'd like me to talk about, just drop them in the comments of the YouTube video. DM them to me on any of the things that you can DM on, and I will take those into consideration, because I can pretty much, if I have a topic, I can find a way to talk about it and probably give you my opinion on it, because I guarantee you, one way or another, I'm going to have an opinion on it for some reason. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how this whole process is, but that's just kind of where I've been the past few weeks. And so, but we're back. We're getting back on that podcast horse, and we're going to ride it and eat the horse and all that stuff. That's a Dragon Ball Z abridged reference, by the way, the eat that horse thing. So, anywho, now I'm starting to ramble, so I'm gonna end the episode here. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight, you guys. It's good to be back, and like I said earlier, if you have any podcast topic suggestions, leave them in the comments, send them to me. You can follow me at Willie J. Co. pretty much anywhere on the internet. So there's links to all that stuff in the description. If you liked the episode, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of the other podcast hosts, if you could rate or review the podcast, that is very much appreciated. So, thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I will see you next week for another Friday Night Chill.